Welcome, everyone, to the Spiritual Freedom Support Call number 28. We have a really packed meeting tonight. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good. Justin's
I'm doing good.
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 Awesome. How you doing, Fran?
Good.
Good. All right. Yeah, I'm doing well. Let's see. What did we do? We had our last week. We got to go away. We got for what was it, for Christmas?
Yes.
For Christmas, we got this nice package that we got to go to this bed and breakfast here in Olean for the night. Did I tell you about this, Brenda? I don't remember if I told you.
No.
I didn't tell you.
I don't remember.
We went to this bed and breakfast for the night, and we went to dinner first to our favorite restaurant, at least my favorite. I don't know what's your favorite.
I love it, yeah.
And then we went to the bed and breakfast and spent the night there. They were really nice and accommodating. And then in the morning they made us breakfast, and it was really nice. It was for a very early. It was for an early Valentine. Well, no.
No, it was the day after we went.
Oh, it was for a late Valentine's Day.
Yeah, because last Valentine's Day was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was the day after. It was.
Yeah,
the
we
day
went
after.
on Wednesday.
So that was a lot of fun. That's what we did last week.
It was great. We needed it.
Yeah, it was really fun to get away. But their internet, oh my goodness, their internet was so slow.
You weren't supposed to be on the internet.
Justin, getting me away from the internet
You were supposed to be
like
enjoying a lovely Valentine's
It's like getting a
Day.
fish away from water.
We mostly read books.
Yeah, we read together. We just sort of, I mean, we're not like hugely romantic or anything. We just like
Catfish can hang out on dry
I'm
land.
not a catfish. I'm a regular fish.
Nobody else would have said anything about catfish being able to hang out on dry land.
Well, I know there are those ones that can like walk.
That's a catfish.
That's
That's
awesome.
a catfish.
That's
Catfish
awesome.
can walk. See there, I told you. They can hang out
but
away
I'm
from
not.
the
No, but
internet.
I'm not a catfish. I'm like
And there's flying fish too.
I'm like a goldfish or something.
Oh, no, do not be a goldfish.
Okay, I won't
Seriously.
be. We're debating what kind of fish Brandon is. All right.
Yeah.
Choose something else.
Hey, whatever works.
All right, I'm a shark.
There you go.
That would make sense.
It's a lot more respectful than a goldfish.
That's true. Goldfish apparently have a 3-second short-term memory.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I've
They have
heard.
really bad memories.
Yeah.
And you can freeze them and they can come back to life.
I did not know that one.
Really?
Wow, did not know that.
If you freeze
or-
them
Go
in
ahead.
liquid nitrogen and bring them back, we did this in chemistry.
That's kind of creepy and cruel.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's because they forgot they were frozen. That's really what happened.
Goldfish are immortal because they just forget to die.
Sometimes
My mom
there are
had
certain
goldfish that lived
upsides.
17 years.
Really?
There are
Oh,
certain,
17
Actually-
years. In a little bowl. Right on.
Wait. We're all trying to talk over each other. Go ahead, Justin.
go ahead.
No, go on, finish.
No,
You
go
started. Go ahead, Justin.
I don't know what I was gonna say.
Okay, go on, Fran.
I said it already.
Oh, 17, that's awesome.
Yeah.
17 years?
Wow.
Yeah. Just in a little bowl in the kitchen.
Justin, you're pretty quiet over there. I can't hear you very well.
Oh, wait a minute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
If you ask that goldfish, he lived for 3 seconds.
Or I could be a starfish, and if I get cut, I just regenerate.
That's
Really
true.
awesome.
We had a goldfish once for like 12 years or something. I don't know. It was a long time. My sister had.
I've never. I think I've temporarily had fish, but I don't really remember them.
I don't like
I mean, you
fish.
can't. They're not very good blind people pets. You should be able to sue goldfish for not being very accessible.
That's true.
Sorry.
They're not accessible.
They're not accessible for the blind.
But their upside is they do not remember that they're supposed to be dead, so they live a long time and can be unfrozen. There are some upsides to having 3-second memory, I'm telling you.
That's true.
Exactly.
Anyway, so that was
it's like Finding Dory. Dory is like
We didn't get to see
the
it yet.
epitome.
Oops.
yeah, I didn't see that movie. I saw Finding Nemo a long time ago, but
Finding Dory's on Netflix.
Yeah,
so we
you
have
saw
to
how
watch
Dory
it.
was. Yeah, you saw how Dory was in that one. So
Oh,
you know
God.
she'd forget things like
Yes.
within seconds.
Yep. That was funny. Anyway, so what questions do we have today? I know we have questions. Okay, I can continue if we don't have questions. I can just sort of choose topics. I'm shocked. All right.
Yeah.
No, no questions yet? All right.
No.
Did you guys see you can't see a podcast, you can hear a podcast. Did you hear
Or listen to.
Yes. Listen to the podcast on Saturday. That was one of my favorites. That was awesome. Justin and I and Christine had a lot of fun with that one. It was the astrology podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was actually.
Did you enjoy that one?
I did.
We talked about, basically the planetary archetypes and how they interact with your ability to create and in your life in general. That was a lot of fun. We're doing the next one next weekend, not this coming weekend, but next weekend, because this weekend we have an interview that we're doing with someone actually, which is going to be a lot of fun too. And but next weekend we'll do the other 5 planets for the second part of that podcast. But it was a lot of fun, and it generated a lot of interesting discussion. I know, several people said they weren't really into astrology too much, but they identified with the energies that are associated with that. But I think that astrology has been around for thousands of years, really. Maybe not in its current form, but most of current astrology comes from ancient Greece, I think.
There's Vedic astrology.
There is also Vedic astrology, yes.
Yeah.
I am familiar with both, and I tend to use... I was using Vedic for a while.
You were using Vedic. I remember that.
Yes. Now, just for ease of use, I just use Western, just regular Western astrology. They still have the 12 houses. They still have the 12 signs. But there are some minor differences that are kind of technical and not really worth going into. But mainly, Western astrology focuses a lot more on aspects, and Vedic astrology focuses a lot more on house placement and different configurations that you have to sort of memorize. I think they call them yogas, actually. But anyway, but I do Western astrology. But
What did you study? Did you study with anybody, or did you just read about it? Or
I just studied it. I just studied it and learned it on my own, honestly, and did a lot of experimentation. I've read a lot of people, done a lot of charts.
have you heard of a guy named Tim Halloran? He's on YouTube. He has his own business in Savannah.
Oh, really?
Called Rasa Lila Healing, and his partner does energy healing.
Oh.
He's an amazing spiritual astrologer, but he's also technically really good.
Really? That's interesting. I've never heard of him, no.
Yeah. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never heard of him. But with the planetary energies, I think that what I like about astrology is it's such a varied system, sort of like tarot. Those who are in the psychic class, we talked about tarot. Mm-hmm. And astrology, though, is such a varied system that it can represent any energy. And the thing that's nice about it is it's not this fake sort of overemphasis on the positive. It is a very balanced system. Now in modern,
it's pretty exact, actually.
It is very exact. In modern astrology, they can sometimes be criticized for overemphasizing the positive. Traditional astrology was very honest. If they thought, they would literally tell you if they thought so. Yeah, you're going to die next Tuesday. They would tell you. No kidding.
They did? Really?
Yes,
Oh
or
my
you're
God.
going to be in an accident, or you're going to get sick, or you're never going to find a relationship. Like they
Oh
would be
God.
very brutally honest.
Next
Now-
Friday, man, you're done. Why
So
is
this
that?
is Vedic.
But you know,
No,
You're
traditional, ancient
astro-
astrology.
you don't. You can change things though yourself, can't you?
Yes,
You don't
but
have to be
some
victim to
things are
that.
so likely that it's very unlikely to
It's
be
hard to
changed.
change some.
Like your time of death is pretty hard to change.
Well, I mean, it just depends. Yeah, some things are.
Well, maybe not that, but like maybe the way your life is going or something. I don't know. That's what I kept reading about, that you don't have to be constantly.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
But
No.
okay, it's like this. You can probably lift, that you can probably lift and move a heavy weight if you absolutely had to. But
Right.
if it's set in place, it's going to be hard for you to move, right?
Right.
So that's just the way it is. If
inertia.
you've got certain aspects that predispose you to certain things, like you like to travel or something like that,
Right.
it's going to be really hard for you to change that.
Right. Exactly.
You
And why would you?
could, yeah.
Why
Why would you?
you?
Well, now you could, and if you needed to, you might be able to. But remember, the
Right.
chart is actually there for you to learn to transcend those aspects.
That's
That's
what I'm
really
talking. That's
what it's
exactly
for.
what I'm talking about.
But listen, if something is kind of in there deep, it's really hard to do that.
Well, here's what astrology tells you basically. Here's who you are as a person. Here are your struggles. Here are your strengths. Here are your weaknesses. Here are your karmas. And yes, you can overcome those, but it will be challenging.
Yeah.
Now, what's great about astrology, if you saw the article, I've been talking about astrology a bit lately. If you saw the article on the Saturn return,
I did, yeah.
there are certain parts of astrology that have built in a way to force you to look at yourself. And the Saturn return is one of those.
I went through the Saturn return when I was 28.
Well, there are several of them. You probably
There's
went
a lot
through
of
it.
them.
That's the first one, right?
That's the first one. You probably
That
went
was
through another
major
one a few years
in my
ago.
life.
Well,
And
Sorry?
that was very major in my life.
Yeah,
that
well,
year. Yeah, I made a
and
lot
then-
of
yeah.
changes.
There's one every 28, 29 years.
Oh.
For example, your sun sign is like your core personality. It's
Right.
like why
Yeah.
you're there.
Yeah, I know
So
that.
could you transcend that if you had to for some great spiritual thing? You
Right.
might be able to, but it would be really hard to. I mean,
Right.
it's
Well,
just one of those things.
I guess I'm just talking about the fact that if there's a lot of aspects, let's say, in the chart, I'm not talking about me, I'm just talking in general,
Right.
that is sort of saying, well, that aren't that positive, and then what would be the point of you wanting to go on, and make things, you know what I mean? Like, where would your motivation go then to,
You've got a balanced chart to a certain
feel like things are really set
Because
in stone?
that's your start. Your astrology chart will force you to look at your issues and to transcend them. It's not meant to
You
be.
can transcend them then.
That's
Yes.
what we've been saying for a few minutes.
I thought you said sometimes it's just really hard.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
It is very hard, but it will force you. So the Saturn return is there to make you look at yourself, be self-reflective, and work through those issues. Like if you want to be, let's say, financially well off, and you have some poor placements in your second house, which is the house of money, or in your 10th house, which is the house of career, then you have some obstacles to work through, quite honestly. You know what I mean? Like you have some stuff to work through.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean you can't. Now, the times that you might work through these might be, let's say, a Saturn return, especially if it's in the 2nd or 10th house. At the time when a major planet transits those houses.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what a transit is?
Yeah, when it's passing through.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was making sure everyone else knew. The time when you have a progressed planet in one of those houses, like a
And what does
progressed
that mean?
moon. Okay, so the progression. Let's say, for me, I'm 28 years old. So to take the progressed moon, you would take basically one day a year. So I was born September 21st, 1988. You would add 28 days to that. So basically October 19th. And October 19th, 1988, wherever the moon, like wherever all the planets were on that day, would be my progressed planets reflecting when I was 28 years old. Does that make sense? So for each year, you add a day to your natal chart and see where all the planets are and how they interact with each other and how they interact with your natal placements.
I'll have to have you explain that one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
All right.
a little confusing.
So
Yeah.
if I was born on, well, I was, September 21st, 1988, when I was 1 year old, my progressed planets would have been from September 22nd, 1988. When I was 2 years old, it would have been from September 23rd, 1988. Like,
Got you.
so instead of
You're going one day.
going one day per year. So instead of my transits would be where are they today? But my progressed planets are where were they 28 days after my birth. Okay, because I'm 28. I'll be 29, so 29 days, whatever.
And you,
Right. So that's a progressed plan, and they can also tell you some stuff about you. So you have your natal plan, your natal chart, which is like a snapshot of your birth. You have your, like the major events of your life, your Saturn return, your Jupiter returns, which is every 12 years. And things like that. You have your transits, which is like your houses stay the same as like your natal chart, but let's say you have a Jupiter transit to your second house, for instance. And then you have your progressed planets, which can also tell you a lot of stuff. So those are kind of the four ways that you can find out things about yourself. So
how much?
Yeah.
How much do you think we can control the moment of our birth, which is then your rising sign?
how much can we? I'm sorry.
How much can we control the moment of our birth?
Well, we can't control it at all. I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, if you're coming in to
Oh, you mean as his higher self?
yeah,
Oh,
like obviously a Capricorn with Cancer rising is different
Right.
from a Capricorn with a Leo rising.
yes. I believe what happens is that your higher self and your spirit guides for your main lifetime spirit guides kind of gather together in a group and say, all right, what experiences do I want to have in this life?
Yep.
And then, okay, so based on the experiences, I'm going to choose my culture, my nationality, my family, which parents I'm going to be born to. Now, once I have my parents, I have a lot of choices of exactly when I'm going to be born, because those parents, I believe, will be influenced as to when exactly they're going to have that child, because their various attempts can succeed or not. So, okay, like, do I want I have a Libra rising. Do I want a Libra rising? Do I want a Leo rising? Do I want a Capricorn rising? Where do I want my moon? So it's not. I don't see it as your astrology, confining you and being, a confine upon you. You chose it. You chose it. Okay, so that's what I believe. You completely choose it, and the astrology is a reflection of that choice.
But would you have had to make like a contract with the mother who is carrying you, because let's say she's
Definitely.
once, you've got to be born right on that in order to get that rising sign, let's say.
Right. You'd have to probably contact the mother's higher self.
Right.
And remember, I mean, there's lots of leeway. I mean, you can have premature birth. You're going to have even past due, when it's...
My sister was past due.
I was past due 2 weeks.
Yeah. And that might
Me
be because,
too.
hey, I really need to get this certain astrological layout going. So you're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
I gotta get this chart right.
I don't think it's ever an accident.
Yeah.
I was a week
The
early.
very moment you're born.
I was supposed to be born March 15th or something, and that would have made me a Pisces. And
Yeah.
I was born on 0 degrees Aries.
Wow. So that says a lot about what your higher self chose. And that's, well...
March 21st, and you're September 21st.
Yeah, exactly. And I was born right almost at Libra, but not quite. I'm just Virgo, which makes, and I have a Libra rising, which makes my sun in my sun sign in my 12th house. So that's quite an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But one thing I think it brings up is, and I don't mean to get I don't know if it's really political more than moral, but a lot of people will talk about is the embryo like a human being before birth? Astrologically, I'm not saying it's not, or I'm not saying it is. Astrologically, you don't begin as a human being until you basically fully are born.
Nope, you sure don't.
You don't even begin as a human being until you are completely born. Not to say you're not before then, but nothing really defines you, because you are an independent human being at that point, which is why the very moment of your birth defines your entire life.
Right.
Yeah. So technically, which I would not make this argument with a pro-life or whatever.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
I would be like, no, technically speaking.
Oh my God.
In
I'm
this
just saying, it's sort of
/choice conversation, you're not a human until you are born. What? Astrologically speaking.
That's right.
Imagine telling a Catholic that they're a very strict Christian.
That's right. But it's just an interesting thought experiment. You're not really a complete human being until that very moment. That's what defines you.
Well, and people make the argument about the soul. Well, the soul comes in and out anyway, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, the soul's not really completely united with the infant until birth. It can come and go before then. Right. PK, I heard you starting to say something. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe the soul comes in at that first breath or something, because you would maybe be floating around with around the parents.
Are you okay?
Right.
What you want to experience, but maybe it's not as specific as I'm going to have Joe Smith and Barbara Smith. Maybe it's that in this area, in this kind of lifestyle that I want to be put into, these people are having a baby at the time that the planets arrive.
Right, exactly. Well, it might be that, but also it might be I want the environment that this family can offer me, because, for instance, I was always a very curious child. I started my religious seeking when I was, 9 years old. My mother was always very supportive of that. My life could have ended up very differently if I had another parent, you know what I mean? Who wasn't supportive of that. So I think also we look at the environment that we'll grow up in, because that can really impact us also, which, is tied into astrology as well, but, I think that's part of it also. So it's the astrology, it's the environment we're born into, it's all that kind of stuff. That's how I see it. So it's a very involved process, really.
Yeah.
It's a very involved process. It's not so simple as just, let's just choose a family, run with it. It's you can be very choosy about what kind of family you want to be born into. And that goes for, if you had a bad upbringing, you also chose that.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Why?
Also,
Obviously.
because, right.
a really challenging family.
Well, because you didn't come for it to be easy. I
Right.
mean, heck, I chose to be visually impaired somehow. So did Christine. Like, you did not come for it to be easy. So a soul can very well choose a bad upbringing so that they can have the strength later on to overcome that and have that, have those experiences and have those lessons.
Yeah.
I wonder
things like
about
that.
the people that do get it very easy. If they in the next life, then
No.
It's not karmic. It's not like some kind of balancing act. It's not anything like that. It's just there's not like a divine requirement. Oh, you had it easy this time. Next time you got to suffer. It's not like that. It's
about what you need.
It's just what you choose to experience, what kind of lessons you want to go through, stuff like that. It's not like that at all. So, it just depends on the soul and what they choose to experience in this lifetime and what kind of lessons they want to go through.
Well, I'm not choosing to come back as a night-born Capricorn next time.
Is that what you are now?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I
a
know.
what born Capricorn?
Night, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
read about that. That's not as good. Yeah.
yeah. I was actually born just after sunrise.
I have Capricorn rising, I think.
Really?
Well, some astrologers I haven't had a reading in many, many years, but there was always a problem with the astrologers trying to figure out my rising and my moon because I'm on the cusp apparently on both. That makes the sun, moon, and rising all on the cusp.
Interesting. Wow.
The moon and the rising are apparently on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn.
Well,
And nobody
send me your exact details sometime, and I can look up your chart. Like I won't read it, but for free.
Oh.
But I'll look at like the signs. Anyway.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I never got it straight for the rising and the moon. I got
Curious.
Venus and Mars and
So
all
that would
that.
be So that would be similar to seeing the sun and the moon during the day.
What do you mean?
Like sometimes you can still see the moon in the morning, or it comes up
right
before sunset.
Yeah.
And it's still daylight outside, though.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. I will do that because I've always wondered, like my Mars and Venus and all my other planets, they were easy, but apparently those two are really
and the most important ones really are your sun, your moon, and your rising signs. So, that's like the most important.
What do you think about that? A lot of people say that you're very compatible. Like if let's say you said your rising is Libra, that you might be very compatible with as a friend or whatever, in whatever capacity, as maybe somebody whose sun sign is Libra.
No.
It depends on
Is that just a myth, sort of?
It's so much more. Relationship compatibility is a very complex science. You look at all sorts of different things. It's not just like, oh, Virgos get along with whatever. I don't even know what people say Virgos get along with.
That way.
Yeah, right. It's relationship compatibility it definitely exists, but it's not as simple as, well, because I have a Libra rising, I get along with Libras. Like, you'd think because I have a Libra rising, I would be very outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because, I have my sun in the 12th house.
What is your moon?
My moon is, you're reading on my headphones. My moon is in my 4th house, actually, which is, what do you think, little quiz time, if you know about the houses, what do you think that says about me?
I don't know about the houses.
I don't know much about the houses. I need to study the houses.
My moon is in Capricorn, by the way.
Oh, your moon is in Capricorn.
My moon is in Capricorn.
I need to learn more about the houses.
Okay, so the 4th house is basically the home, the family.
Oh.
Yeah.
They don't go with the planets, then they just kind of, the houses are.
Yeah, the houses. Do you know what the houses are, Justin?
Yeah, vaguely, because I stopped reading
Bless
that one
you.
book when they talked to someone talking about houses, because it was just so, but what
Right. Okay, so the houses are basically, they depend on the location you were born, which is why you need to know the city that you were born in.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything else, is the signs, the planets, they're just based on the time. Your houses are based on the location, because basically, again, astrology, I keep saying this to people, astrology is based on not fact, but your perception. Like astrology is very geocentric, even though we know we revolve around the sun. Astrology is very geocentric because that's our perspective, so that's what counts, right? That's our perception.
It's where you're located.
It's where you're located. So if you have like a rising sign Libra, that means that Libra is the sign that's rising on the eastern horizon at the moment of your birth. And then basically the whole circle between your rising sign to your descendant, which is on the western side, all the way back around to the eastern side, is divided into 12 sections. Not equal sections. It's different, but basically, like your first house will start at the rising sign, and will go down like into underneath the horizon.
Yeah.
And then, so the fourth house would be like directly underneath. The seventh house starts at your descendant, and then your 10th house is like where the sun would be at noon, basically. You know what I mean? Like directly overhead.
Mm-hmm.
So the houses are like based on your location, what signs are rising, things like that. So the fourth house, like I said, is all about home, family, that kind of stuff.
That's why I don't like to go anywhere.
Yeah, well, it would be like your emotions are like the moon is emotions. Your emotions are
So
most. Go ahead.
So my fifth house, my Taurus is in my fifth house.
Right. So the fifth house is pleasure, passion, creative pursuits, even like romance and sexuality, stuff like that. So that's your fifth house.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So each of them has a different, and they sort of correspond with the signs, but not exactly. Like the fourth house would sort of correspond with Cancer, but not precisely. There's a difference there too, but sort of.
Because the fifth house would be Leo, which
right.
Yeah, so my Taurus would technically be in Leo, sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
What house is Aries?
Well, again, it's not.
It's not.
It's just a correspondence.
I see.
Do you know what your rising sign is?
Well, that's what I was saying. Is that there's
you said probably Capricorn rising, right?
Well, probably, but maybe not. And I have to kind of go on what I feel. I feel like my rising sign is probably Capricorn.
Right.
Or maybe my moon, because they're both on the cusp of Capricorn.
Well, that's why you'd want
Sagittarius.
He can figure it out, though.
Two very different signs.
Exactly. So if your rising sign's Capricorn, then most of Aries is probably in your fourth house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where Aries would be.
But like I said, I don't know for sure yet. I'll find out though at some point.
Yeah.
And my moon too.
Right.
They say that isn't it your moon is sort of your emotions, how you what you don't really show to people.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your emotions. I would listen to that podcast. We talked a lot about what the planets mean with the different energies.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm going to listen to that.
And it was really good. I mean, I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I think you'll really like it, Fran.
So that was definitely a lot of fun. So
my Venus and Mars.
Did it explain?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brenda. Sorry.
Did it explain how to read those houses and things?
How to read the charts?
Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
That's a very complex thing. Now, I didn't want to go into like a technical treatise on, astrology or something. Like, maybe sometime I'll do a class on it.
That's
but
more than a class.
that's
Yeah.
the book.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The one thing you could listen to help you out, and I'm gonna have to re-listen to parts of it, is the only astrology book you'll ever need. That's what it's called. It's very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Really? What's it called?
Yes. The only astrology book you'll ever need. It's
Huh.
very good.
Can you get it from Amazon?
Probably.
Sure you can.
So yeah, it's charts are kind of complicated, but not overly so. You can figure them out pretty easily, but it takes some work.
I can't wait to get mine done. I got the Vedic one, but I didn't get a
Western.
I'm debating on how much I'm going to get into astrology. I like to know a good bit about it, but
I don't get why some people don't like astrology. I love astrology.
I love astrology.
I think it's
I
fascinating.
love it because
It's
it's
just a lot of
you.
work.
Well, but it's
like the
figuring
map of
you
your
out.
soul.
It's like your soul's DNA.
And nobody else has those.
Well, it's
Right,
like
it's
your
unique.
soul's DNA, and it's why you do certain things, and it's just neat, and it comes together, so it's hard to distinguish one from the other, but it you can tell. It's really good.
Exactly.
What is
right.
your sun sign, Justin?
Taurus,
Oh, okay. And what's your rising and moon?
moon is Leo, rising is Sagittarius.
So you got 2 fire signs and an earth sign.
Yep, and in my Mercury, Venus, and Aries my Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all in Aries.
Wow.
Crazy.
And
You're
my
very-
Jupiter is in Leo, and that's
Wow.
Lots of fire signs.
yeah, I'll get
Yeah.
that.
Yep. So yeah, I love astrology though. It's very fascinating.
Very fiery.
I think it's
I want to
actually
know more about cusp.
Sorry,
Because
what were we gonna say, PK?
I think it's quite interesting to mix the planets that are, say we've got Venus coming close, and you're wanting to work on relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you could use them together. Like make sure that you're doing your Venus stuff when Venus is close, or relax on the Venus stuff when she's in retrograde.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Or
Or even like if Venus is in your, let's say, 7th house, that's the house of
Yeah.
relationships. That's really what you would be doing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when Venus is in your 7th house,
Ooh, I
even
don't
the
know what
5th
house my
house,
Venus
if you want romance. What's that, Justin?
I don't know what house my Venus is in.
I don't know. You gave me
I just
information.
know
before.
I don't know what house, but I know my Venus is in Pisces and my Mars is in Scorpio. And I read that was supposed to be very good, like very complementary to each other. With
So
the
Mars is in Scorpio. Well, Mars
is in Scorpio.
rules
Venus is in
Scorpio, so
Pisces.
that belongs. Venus.
Well,
I don't know.
Mars, though,
She's in
is
Pisces.
a very, that masculine sign of, let's go get them,
Right.
let's go get it, and success and pushing and,
right.
going out there. And then Venus is isn't that the sign of Pisces?
No.
No.
No,
No.
Oh,
Venus.
no,
That's Jupiter.
Jupiter is
that's
Pisces.
Jupiter.
Yeah. Taurus and
Libra. Taurus and Libra
Libra, right.
is until Pan Horus, they say, is discovered.
Yep. So yeah, that's Pisces is Jupiter and Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
Neptune.
Yep. So yeah.
Cusps are very interesting too, because a lot of people don't believe in cusp. They say either you're this or you're that. And there are other people that say
yeah,
it's part of
well,
you.
Well,
only-
I read that actually. I just
the
read that
only-
in the Linda Goodman's book.
The only time I believe in cusps is the only time astrologers really use cusps is with houses. If your planet is within, like, say, 1.5 degrees of the end of a house, you can really be said to have a lot of the energy of the next house. So, but with signs, you're right. Whatever sign you're in, you're in. I mean, I'm
You're
in
in.
like literally 28 degrees Virgo, and I'm Virgo through and through.
And I'm 0 degrees Aries, and I'm
you're
Aries.
Aries. So
Yeah.
I don't use cusps with signs. You
No,
don't really
I
do
wouldn't
that.
either.
But you do with houses for sure, because they're more Houses are more flexible because you have like a whole bunch of different house systems. So you use one house system and you might have a fourth house Aries. You use another house system and you might have third house or fifth. You know what I mean? Like depending on how they're split up. So it just really depends.
Right.
And then there's even like a whole sign house system where like each sign is a house on its own. So all of Capricorn is your first house, all of Aquarius is your second house. That's not common, but that's out there.
Have you ever heard of a grand trine or a grand square?
Yes.
Well, I have both. That's
I have a grand trine.
I don't know what I
That's
have.
good.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I don't think you do. No, you have a trine, but I don't think you have a grand trine.
Good.
No, they're good. Grand
Are
trines
they?
are good. Grand squares are not good. I think that's called a cross.
Well, they say that it's more like your challenges.
Yes.
You know, a lot of challenges. But then I also have a grand trine. They said that's very unusual to have both.
Yeah.
But you can, you know, go from one to the other.
Right.
Sort
Sure.
of you have that possibility, a lot of possibilities.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, the aspects are infinitely. I mean, you have like the 5 major aspects. Yeah, I mean, you have all sorts of different aspects you can use.
Right.
You know, trines, squares, oppositions, conjunctions, sextiles, and then you have like minor aspects, quintiles and quincunx, and
Sounds very mathematical.
it is very much. What were you laughing at?
Quincunx?
Seriously, quincunx.
What names?
It's 150 degrees. It's a quincunx.
Really? Quincunx?
Yes.
That's cute. That's kind of a cute little name.
I am going to.
What's that, Justin?
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool to be able to control like astrology in that way. Just kind of create your own people and stuff like that.
I know.
I'm going to get a guy and he's just going to be nothing but Pisces. Whoa,
Pisces.
Yeah.
that guy is
that's-
screwed.
That's cruel now. That's just horribly cruel.
That
Why?
guy-
He'll definitely be a either an artist or a musician or something.
he's going
though.
to float away.
or he'll just be
screwed.
on drugs or something.
Oh
Why
my
was
God.
Pisces?
Yeah.
Pisces is like delusional.
Or have
Very
There's so
dreamy.
many stereotypes, you know, about each sign, which is so funny.
except they're kind of not stereotypes.
People tend to
Yeah, they're not really
people tend to
stereotypes.
concentrate
Yeah, not
just
really
on the sun
stereotypes.
sign.
Yeah. Well, it just depends on your
The reason,
planets.
yeah, it depends on the other planets. That's why
Right.
they're not the same. Like Taurus doesn't change, but it just depends on where the other planets are located and what aspects of Taurus either they or your environment help you bring out. or
Exactly.
your soul brings out.
Exactly right.
And Taurus is a Taurus, man. It's
Yep.
gonna do some Taurian things no matter what.
Oh God, I grew up. I had a good friend who was a Taurus when I was growing up, and he was every bit of it too. Oh my goodness. Whew. I mean, he must have had some. Or that was his sun sign, but he must have had some strong placements there because he was Taurus.
My mom is a Scorpio.
My mom is a Gemini.
Those are interesting. But Geminis are.
Every week she had a different hair color, and
Yeah.
she changed all the furniture around in the house.
Yeah, Geminis or something
What
else.
what around the house?
She would change the furniture. I mean, she would move the furniture around in different
Oh,
patterns.
yeah.
And she was always doing 8 things at the same time.
Yep. That's Gemini for you. Yep.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's very interesting.
it is.
So yeah, and then yesterday's post. What's yesterday's post on Christine? Oh, yesterday's post. Oh, what was it?
Was it the gods?
I
No, it
No,
was.
I didn't get to read it, but it was I forgot what it was.
Thanks.
I think
That
I
was
read
a
it.
lot of help.
Yeah.
Oh! I
Oh,
got
the
it.
highest good.
The highest good.
That was it.
Oh no, I
The highest.
That was it. I knew there was something familiar. I was like, okay, I know what this is all about.
It had the gods in it, but it wasn't about the gods.
Excuse me.
That was. Were you gonna say something, Brenda?
No, I coughed and I said,
Oh.
excuse me.
Oh, there's no excuse for you. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Ouch.
Wow.
I know, right?
He's mean.
I am mean.
So
Into the-
mean.
He gives it to me twice as much.
But you know what? I love you anyway, Brandon.
Oh, thanks.
Say into the fire with you, Brenda. Into the fire with you.
Into the fire. How dare you cough? Anyway, Oh, now Christine's on. See what you did, Brenda?
Yeah, Brenda.
I'm okay.
You're passing around your germs in this virtual room. Your germs are
Man,
so
that's-
germy that they're passing around thousands
I
of miles.
swallowed wrong. That's what happened.
Teach me that manifestation trick, Brenda.
Anyway,
Oh my God.
so yesterday we were talking about the highest good. And that was something, well, I described it last week, right? Yeah, last week.
Yes.
Yes.
My little starseed experiment, and that didn't end up so well. But so I wanted to write a post about,
For the highest good.
things being blocked for the highest good. And which, by the way, is not the same thing as Justin keeps saying, is, appending, as long as this is for the highest good of all. And I never do that. But
I never do that.
no, I never do that either. But it's just the fact that, things will be stopped if they're not for your highest good, especially.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to talk about in the post, like the thing about for the highest good of all. I wanted to,
Yeah.
but by the time I got there, the post was over 3,000 words, and I thought, I have to stop sometime. I mean, you just got to stop at some point.
I'm happy you stopped there.
I really try. Like, I try not to write more than 2,000 or so words. Did I still hear him?
Yeah, you tried.
Sorry. I try not to write more than 2,000 or 2,500 words. Even that is a massive blog post, I know. But I'm very, 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 very wordy.
No, wordy's that's negative. You're detailed.
I'm detailed, yes. But
Wordy is a really
that's true.
bad connotation.
But it got to like 3,000 words, and like I just have to stop. I mean, it's just, I could have kept going for like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000.
Write a book.
Write a book about the highest good. I don't know if I could do that much, but it's like, but yeah, I don't add like that little addition for the highest good of all. And
No,
whatnot.
stupid.
I think that's silly, but
It's like praying and going, if it is your will, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You don't do
Will
that.
be done. No, you don't do that.
You don't
Yeah.
do that.
How would you know it's the highest good for all?
I'm sorry.
Well, I guess it sounds nice, but
What it's a
when you say for all, are you meaning like everybody?
it's a witchcraft thing that you see in like modern day kind of teenagey stuff.
Yeah.
For the highest good of all.
Oh well, I hear it. Yeah,
It's like
I've heard it a
a
lot.
fear thing,
It's
I just
sort of
never
okay.
really
Here's
did.
my
Yeah.
thing. Here's my thing. First of all, it will always be for your highest good if you're listening to the gods or the divine or whatever. It
Yeah.
will always be for your highest good because they're not going to let it be otherwise.
Right.
As for everyone else, I'm sorry, this is going to sound really cold-hearted. But,
Go for it, Brandon, because I'm waiting for this.
okay. As for everyone else, it's their business. I
Yep.
don't care.
And he doesn't mean that in a I'm going to try to get you in a
Right.
mean way.
Right.
Everyone has a right to do whatever it is they're
And
going
they have
do.
they have to provide for themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
They have to do their own thing. I can't.
People have to make their own
Like
choices.
for instance, if you get a job,
Yeah.
the other guy didn't get it. Okay,
Yeah. He
that
just
may
didn't.
or may not be for his highest good. Who knows? That's not my concern.
Or he just beat him out.
Or just exactly right. Like that's not my concern. My concern is I'm doing the highest good for me,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and that's if after that if in the meantime I have the opportunity to serve you, then I will do my best. But we have this sort of this allergy to saying, you know what, it's for me. And
Yeah.
that's one reason I love Aleister Crowley. Do you know a lot about him, Justin?
Some about him, yeah, he was pretty rough.
He was pretty rough. He
He
was pretty
was.
rough, but I love him.
Black magic.
What's
Yeah, he
that?
was pretty rough.
Black magic.
No, he
Yes,
liked
he
it.
was. He did a lot of stuff.
He liked to say so, but he was. I don't know.
He did a lot of stuff, man.
I read that he did sacrifices and everything.
No,
Well,
no. Okay, here's the thing about. Let me start a new topic. I'm keeping better track today.
That's because I'll yell at you if you don't.
That's right. Here's the thing about Aleister Crowley. He loved attention. He loved nothing but attention. He called himself the Beast 666. He called himself that because he wanted Christians to hate him. Okay, and Exactly. He wanted. People called him the most evil man alive. He loved that stuff.
He wanted that publicity, that attention.
Exactly. He didn't do half the stuff he told people he did. He did not do sacrifices.
Right.
No. But he liked for people to think so, because it gives him popularity. It gives him attention, infamy. You know, he liked that. So no, he didn't do half the stuff people think he did, but he loved people to think so. He was totally. He wanted to be in the spotlight. You know.
He sure made it that way.
Sure. He was great at it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, heck, he made his. I don't know if you know this about. I don't know if you know this about him. He made his own religion.
No, what was it?
Thelema.
Thelema. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I don't know if the TH is pronounced or not, but Thelema. It's all based on Egyptian stuff.
Yeah.
Egyptian mythology. I used to be really, really into it.
I did.
If I weren't into witchcraft, I'd probably if it didn't require so many tools, I would probably do it. But it requires.
You were
tools.
so good at it too.
Oh, I love it. I always loved his stuff.
Religion?
Yeah.
No, because it's ceremonial magic.
It's ceremonial magic.
Oh.
So you know what I mean? Like
I'm saying that he was very powerful. Is what I meant.
So, but my point was, what was my point? I had a point. Why did I mention him? One of his major sayings that I live by was basically let me say the quote and then I'll explain it. He says, "Every man and woman is a star," and what that means is, so a star or any kind of like cosmic body has an orbit, right? It has a path that it moves. And his thing was the true will. If you're holding to your true will, which means like you're holding to your highest desire, okay, you're doing what you're meant to do, you will not, conflict with anyone else who's also following their true will. So if I'm following my true will and you, Justin, are following your true will, we will not bump into each other and conflict with one another.
You actually will not.
If I'm following my true will and you're not, then yeah, you might get hurt by me, but it's not really my fault. Do you understand?
Right.
Right. That's your thing. So that's my philosophy.
So are you saying that say I talk to someone and I hurt their feelings, kind of thing, or I don't mean to, or I do something they don't like that I do.
If you do something they don't like that you do, that's too bad for them.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Because they're not living by their true will, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, you obviously try your best, but sometimes you just can't make people happy.
Well, yeah, it's...
You can't make everybody happy.
Remember, everybody's kind of trying to get there, so sometimes on the way there you run into some... Yeah, so it's not that... It's not that I'm being malicious or you're being malicious. No, not like intentionally or anything.
No.
It's just... It happens, right?
Right. Yeah, you're following your true will to the best of your ability. So if you're doing your thing, and it's for your highest good, it's your true will, then everyone else is just going to have to take care of themselves, and your true will might be in a service role, but it's still taking care of your highest good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whereas like in, let's say, the New Age, even in Wicca a little bit, where it's very much about, you got to serve the other and sacrifice for the other. And no, ceremonial magicians especially, Aleister Crowley in particular, is all about, I got to take care of me first. And then if I have room, if I feel like doing something else, I will. But I have to follow my path. I'm not going to sacrifice my path for you.
Because in following my path, I'm actually serving you.
Exactly.
It's really how it works. It's the opposite end of it. It just sounds kind of cold-hearted.
It sounds cold, yes.
But he's actually following. If I'm following my path, my unique self and skill sets are serving other people,
right,
and vice versa, and it blends together.
Exactly.
You can't. Go ahead. Sorry.
Whereas a lot of the other New Agey is like, you got to serve everybody else. Well, if you want to, that's fine.
But then you lose a lot of energy.
But don't do you lose a lot of energy. So if you're going to serve them, they need to somehow replenish you.
Yes.
If they don't, you're going to burn out.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
and everyone does it a little bit, but
Yeah.
but that's what has to happen.
Right. Right. That's like with my business. At first, I tried to help every person who came along, whether or not they could afford it. I said, don't worry about it. Just do what you can. Anymore, I mean, people who work with me will know this. I will not, unless it's very specific circumstances, unless I really feel inspired to do so, I will not even usually give a discount. Unless there's a really good reason to. But
you can't.
My thing is, if someone isn't a match to working with, like if someone can't afford me, it's generally a good sign they're not a match to working with me. And I've done this where I've given like a 50% discount or even a 25% discount or whatever, and I've worked with that person, and it's frustrating because they're obviously just not in the place to work with me. And so then I try even harder to work with them, and I try even harder to make it work out, and it's just obviously not. And then we both get frustrated. Okay.
Because that's why he's got classes.
Exactly.
Forms, because what that does is provide other levels to match up.
Right.
With working with someone.
Right. Exactly. Right. I mean, I have lots of different webinars and teleclasses, like recordings that you can buy for $10. If you can't get $10, I'm sorry. But I have to set boundaries. Like I get all the time, someone will email me. I got an email the other day. Someone sent it to my mailing list.
Oh, this is funny.
I got an email. Okay, and I said, how can I start using the law of attraction? I said, well, and I have this. I even have this as not a script. I have this thing called text expander, where if I type a certain abbreviation, it'll expand it. I have an abbreviation just for this case, where it literally says something like, I would love to help you, but unfortunately I do not provide free coaching advice over email. Or if it's over chat, I'll say over chat. Because I get a lot of chat requests too, the same thing. And I'll say, if you would like to ask a question and have it answered, please go to this page, and it's cocreationcoaching.org/ask. And you can see several options of how you can get your question answered. And I think it's fair, because you can ask a question for the podcasts, and if we think it's valuable, we'll answer it. If not, then no. You can come on the support calls, and I'll answer any question. Mm-hmm. You can, or if you don't want to do any of those, or you can comment on the blog. I mean, you've seen how I do on the comments. I reply to everything. Or if you don't want to do any of that, you can pay. You know what I mean? And it's like the lowest I think is I don't know, $20 or $30. I don't remember. But so that's fair to me, but it's not fair to give away my time over email or chat and try to help someone that someone else is paying for, right? That's my way of following my path and keeping myself sane.
And I used to be the same way,
Right.
because I used to have I used to not really care if people paid me for massages. Right. But then I had one friend. Mm-hmm. Well, she calls herself a friend, but I don't really know. Anyway.
Just to get massages.
Pretty much. So she, was, and I might have told this story on this call, but okay. I probably did. But and at first I was fine doing it for free, because she said, how she had arthritis, and I actually offered to do a massage.
Right.
I don't know why, but I did. And I said, that's fine. So I gave her a massage. Well, then it was a pattern.
Yep.
And she would just text me only to get a massage from me. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to test it to see if she was genuine. So I said, I have a really bad migraine. I can't give you a massage today, but I would love the company. And you know what she said to me? Oh, you should rest.
Yeah.
So, you're no friend to me if you're going to do that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're not willing
to just visit.
If you're not willing to just, right.
You can tell the energy.
And I told her, I said, I will no longer give you free massages. Okay. I said, I don't even care if you bring me chocolate, but something.
Right. It has to be exchange of energy.
Yeah. I mean.
I like an exchange of energy.
Yeah. She was just a taker.
No.
She was just a taker, yeah.
Sometimes the exchange of energy to a certain point for you can just be the practice. And that's
right.
And that's okay if that's what you want at that time. But when that's done, you need to start charging people.
like when I started before I got my NLP certification, I did lots of practice sessions, and that was awesome. I loved doing that.
Because you needed that.
But I said to myself, the moment I get this NLP certification, I am a coach, and I'm not doing any more free sessions or anything like that. No, I did actually do a few, but I didn't really hold up to that. But anymore, I will not. I will not for anyone. I mean, except for Christine, obviously, if she needs help. Not even for family, though. Not even for family other than Christine. But I will not give a free session. I
wouldn't.
I will not give a free session.
You shouldn't give one.
Right.
Yeah, man.
It's just too much energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
So, now I did do like on Samhain, I did the free readings that night, but that was sort of fun. That was just
I mean, every now and again, it's good to do it because it can draw in.
Right.
First off, I will say sometimes it can just be liberating to give a free one because you know that it's free, so you don't have to like go all in. You don't have to just blow as much of your energy, but also it'll draw other people in. So that's cool, but I wouldn't do free much.
I even stopped doing the free breakthrough sessions I was doing because people would come into those trying to get coaching. And I said, this is a session for you to get to know me and my style and for me to get to know your situation. But they would ask questions like, well, how can I do this? Well, when we do coaching, I will show you exactly what your obstacles are. Well, how can I do it? I can't. That's part of coaching.
Because at this point, there's enough on those forms.
Yeah.
So that you don't need a breakthrough session.
Right. I stopped doing that because I'm like, people are taking advantage of that. People would sign up to obviously not even intending to get a session, just like, okay, let's see what I can get. So I stopped doing those. So, everyone has to come up with their own boundaries, but that's how it worked for me, though.
Yep. And I had to, it was hard for me because I don't like charging for that kind of thing.
Right.
But, I have a friend that cleans my house for me, and that cleans our house, and I give her massages, and I count the hours. Sure. That's fine. Clean my house. Like
I have two different assistants, two different like virtual assistants. One which does all my images and does an amazing, absolutely awesome job. And the other which does all my transcriptions and also does an amazing job. And them I give free anything, basically.
In exchange of energy,
Right. And it's a ton of work. I mean, the image guy is several times a week doing an image for my posts. And the transcription person, it's a woman, is, at least once a week with the podcasts doing a transcription. And then with the classes, we'll often do a transcription. So she gets free anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's more than fair exchange of energy.
Yeah.
So, things like that are fine.
So your exchange of energy doesn't have to be money. It can be abundance.
No, right.
It can be anything.
Yeah. That's a service I need. I can't do that myself. Either I can't or I won't. Like transcription, I won't because it's a pain in the butt.
Like
images, I can't.
I have a friend that
I could, but you'd laugh at the results.
I have a friend, another person that I give massages to, and she brings Brandon iced tea from his favorite chain store.
Because it's in Pennsylvania.
It's in Pennsylvania,
wow.
And sometimes she'll bring us dinner. That counts just as much as money would.
Oh, yeah.
Because she brings us food from there all the time.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So, it's different things like that. So, that's... But, you got to follow your own path. You got to follow your true will, and that will not lead you wrong. That's one of the best things I got from Crowley is that, idea of the... every man and woman is a star. That's one of my favorite quotes.
I love that.
I really like it. Once you learn the meaning of it, first it's not really intuitive until you know what he means, but I really love that.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
In Conjure, they don't do it either. They do whether you're justified or not.
Yeah.
So it's always, that's you don't hear that rule of three and all that other stuff until you get.
Yeah, I don't do any of that. Yeah. No. It's very interesting though. Okay, before I move on, any questions, but have any questions arisen about anything?
Nope. Other than your comment on loving the pictures that you would come up with. I agree.
I thought you would laugh at them. I'd say you love them. You'd laugh at them. Oh, come on, Brenda. You help me with my. You helped me pick out some images the other. If I would have chosen like the first available one, who knows what would have come out?
Yeah, that was not matching what you wanted at all. I don't know why they even put that in there.
I don't know.
You gotta tell me this later.
I don't. Well, she knows. I don't even know what it was. I typed. Okay, Brenda, you tell us. I typed in crossroads into the search, and I wanted an image of like crossroads in my post. And so, like, what was one of the ones I told you that was the funniest that didn't match at all?
Hold on. That one I think was. Oh, hold on. Let me pull it up.
There was one in New York City that was.
Yeah, there was like a busy street in New York City where the two streets kind of converged off.
Yeah.
And people were, it was real busy. The cars were going here and there, and this person was walking across the street.
And here's the thing,
I don't think that's what you want.
Here's the thing. The description for the image, it says, at the crossroads. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. At the crossroads. That's exactly what I want.
Oh, my God.
No. The first one I showed her, the description was misty crossroads. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. And I showed her. It was like railroad tracks.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
Basically what it was railroad tracks that,
crossing a river
like if you flip a switch, they'll go off. It's like two tracks alongside each other, but to switch tracks, you'd have to do that. And it was like, it had to have been like early morning in the fall.
Yeah.
Because the trees were pretty barren, and there was a little mist off on the railroad tracks, but it had nothing to do with what he was looking for. Yeah, that was the
misty
first
crossroad. Okay, but the thing is, you know why it took me so long to find the one you were trying to point me to? Because it said something about the city name. I don't remember what the city was. Evening in the cemetery, or something. It said it was in a cemetery. I don't know if it was, but I'm like, that can't be the one.
No, there was no cemetery. It was a country road. It looked like what it looked like is some estate.
Right.
So like you have these multiple hundred acres. And
I skipped over that one several times.
And,
like, that can't be the one. It's a cemetery. I don't want a cemetery in my post.
Right.
Stupid descriptions.
So yeah, that's a blind person trying to find images. But now my image guy is going to help with that, because I realize I can't do it. Even with Brenda's help, I can't do it, because it's just too many.
Yeah, because he lost it. I'm like, it's this one. It's 3 over to the left.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, it's over to the left. It's like this many rows down. It's all the way to the left. I'm like, is it this one? No, it's not that one.
And then he goes, the New York one. That one's on my right, and I'm like, yeah, you have to go. No, you said it was on your left.
Yeah,
I said, okay, then go to the right.
And I just happened to come across the right one. I'm like, oh, God. So now I asked my image guy, I'm like, can I add an account for you on the tool I use for doing my posts? And you can do my images, and because I not only the featured images, but also the additional ones, because I can't do these because the descriptions are deceiving.
Yeah.
They're deceptive. Like, cemetery?
I hope this guy listens. I hope he listens to the call.
Oh, I do too. Oh, I do too. So now he came to my rescue, because now he's going to do it all for me. I'm just hopeless with that. So anyway, that's the life of a blind person. Goldfish and images. We can't do either one.
No.
So
especially the goldfish.
Especially the goldfish.
Oh,
anyway, but any other questions? So I have another topic, but I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any questions, because I've been just rambling.
You're good at that.
I am good at rambling. I will ramble for hours and hours and hours. I'm allowed to.
Yes, you are allowed to.
Thank you. Well, not for hours. In the podcast, I was like, I could talk about this for 5 hours, but I don't think people would sit here and listen to it.
It was 1 hour.
It was an hour. The podcast was an hour long. Even after editing, it was still an hour long. I'm like, I'm sorry. The transcript is literally 9,000 words.
See, you
like a whole book chapter.
You have the longest post, and you can't shut up.
It's true. I cannot stop writing, and I cannot shut up. It's a curse.
Because you have so much information and you want to give everybody everything
See?
that you can.
I know.
There it is. Yeah.
Thank you. She reframed it for me, so I feel better about myself.
Oh, shut up. I have to pick on you. It's my job.
I know. I'm just joking. But no, I just keep going. I mean, just the information always just kind of keeps filling in itself. I mean, I've said before, when I write a post, I learn more about the topic than other people do. I think because I'm like, oh, cool. Because it's just like it's almost like channeling almost in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just keeps coming and coming and coming. But a lot of times I write 500 words. I'm like, there's no way I can write a 2,000 word post out of this. And then an hour later, it's like 2,500 words. You know, so it just keeps going. All right, so I'm not missing any questions.
Mm-mm.
All right, you never have questions, Justin.
No, we're good.
Yeah, I never have questions. I have questions sometimes.
Not for me.
Oh.
Lord.
I'm going to start asking a few then. Go ahead.
That's all right. All right, so let's see. My next topic is someone was bringing up today. Actually, let me add this. Hang on. Okay. So someone was bringing up today about trust in the universe. Because I thought I heard a cat, right? Because
you heard me move.
oh, Fooey, you sounded like a cat for a second.
Thanks.
Anyway, because we're talking about trust and I also believe that trust is probably one of the hardest and most important aspects of manifestation. I think most of the not complaints, but most of the posts I get, comments I get about why people are struggling.
What's that noise?
Pretty sure it's Brenda. Most of the comments I get about why people are having trouble struggling, or not having trouble struggling, having trouble manifesting. Are you having trouble struggling? I can help you struggle more.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with you today. People who are having trouble manifesting, the issue 99% of the time is lack of trust. And I think I'll write it, but not this Friday, rather. I have another topic for this Friday, which I was going to discuss right now, but actually I want to kind of keep that secret. Not even Christine knows. So. But the thing I would talk about is trust. I think I'll talk about next week. But trust is one of those things that's so difficult to come by if you don't have it already. Would you say so, Justin?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard even when you think you do have it.
That's true. But, well,
But it's a lot easier if you...
Let's get your perspective. How did you come upon trust? Because I don't even really know how I came upon it besides... Okay, I'm sorry, I asked you a question and I kept talking. 1 second. Oh. How I came upon it was a sink or swim sort of experience. Like I explained about September of 2015. That was a sink or swim kind of thing where I had to trust because that was like literally the only choice. I don't recommend that, but that's how I did it. How did you do it, Justin?
I'll admit it's something I know. I have a problem with impatience. I'm like, okay, I know it's going to work, but it needs to hurry up. And it's like I have to hurry.
That's all your Aries planets.
That's all
those stupid fire. I'm 71.2% fire in my chart.
That's your Mars right there. That's Mars.
But how did I honestly just had faith that it worked out. I've been in some tight spots.
Yeah.
Kind of sink or swim. Also, I came upon this stuff when I was in a job that I really wanted to get out of.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I don't have another way out. So I have to do
something. It is. Yeah.
so this Wayne Dyer, you better be correct. You better.
Well, that was exactly me. I'm like, this law of attraction stuff, it had better be true because otherwise I'm starving.
I'm done.
This month I'm starving. It better be true, or else I'm not going to have gas or electricity,
And then you realize it's hard with a disability sometimes to compete the folks around you because they have, better access. They can drive. My transportation was dwindling. And so I'm like, I can apply for these jobs. And then if my paratransit goes away, I'm done. I lost the job. So then I have to just stay at the one I have or find another plan. So, so it's just, so you just kind of have to, you come to that spot where you're like, okay, this is more than just for plan,
Exactly.
You've got to go ahead and know that it's going to work.
Yeah. And that's it. There are some things in the law of attraction. You know me, Justin. I try my hardest to give you guys shortcuts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do this thing, and it's a lot easier, to manifest. There's honestly, I've tried to look for it. There's just no shortcut for trust and faith.
No.
Nope.
There's just no shortcut. It comes through experience.
And divination.
In divination.
I'm convinced you've got to. Because you can be trying to do law of attraction in the wrong area.
Right.
And it's like, really you need to just leave. Or you need to move or something. Because sometimes you just need to go do something else. I think that I'm convinced that a lot of people go, I've been trusting and hoping, but they're not meditating and stuff. So I'm kind of convinced that and trust are the two things, especially the trust and faith. Of what whether it's what you're attracting or what you're divining. Trust and faith is the hardest thing to get because you really don't have a complete assurance. You have to really know that connection. You just got to know.
It's hard. I would say I have it 95% of the time. I don't know if anyone ever has 100%.
No. I want to meet that person.
Yeah, I know, right? They'd be like walking on water and stuff. Like,
I mean,
I have it 95% of the time.
And then you're going to have it in things you're familiar with because you've got some pretty clean runs. If you were to change areas, you'd have to develop another connection.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, I'm trying not to jump around too much. I will tell you that my relationship with the gods, and I get people scoffing at this all the time, unfortunately. I don't, people say, I don't believe in the gods. I don't care about the gods.
Okay.
Why do I need the gods? Okay, well, fine. That's you. They've helped, my relationship with them, me talking to them has helped so much. I had this discussion with someone today. He's like, I'm just not into the gods. I don't really believe in them. I'm like, okay. But they've helped me a ton. I can't really discount that. So, I'm going to respect you for your choice, but I couldn't get by, I don't think. But so what I'm trying to say is, like, when I'm doing something and I'm just totally lost, I'll be like, hey guys, I don't know what I'm doing. and they'll help. You know what I mean? So that really helps the faith and trust. But, it's like that has definitely been the hardest. I was going to go into a store and I don't know what it was.
And also, there's some things which I don't like to say much, but there's some things, like if you're trying to use law of attraction in certain situations and there's a lot of other people, it is really hard to use a law of attraction on your own without some help. Right. Because you're trying to, your energy is engaged with 8 other people's.
Right.
And sometimes if you've got a good lock on what you're doing, you'll do fine. But sometimes, there's just people and things in the way, and you're like, okay, God or deity, what do I do? Because I don't. And sometimes the deity says, if you really want it, I'll just do it for you. Sure. I got your back on this one.
Right.
Sure.
So I always my prayer is always like, I have this goal. Show me how to get there, because I'm just not sure. Oh, I remember. Thank you. See, they remind me of things. Just kidding. I don't know who reminded me. Someone reminded me.
Yeah, because you didn't say what it was.
Yeah, I know. I had an experience recently. I won't say it publicly, but I had an experience recently where I was like, I'm doing pretty good in this area, but there are certain aspects of it I want to be a little better.
Oh, you didn't even tell me this.
No, I can tell you later. I'm not going to say it publicly.
No.
But, so I started working on it, and then all of this hidden resistance came out of the blue.
It happens.
And I was thinking, and then, my deities were like, this is because you kind of, you poked it. You poked at it, and which isn't bad. You want to improve it, but you had some hidden stuff, and you got to work on it, right? So I'm like, all right, I see it. It's fine. And it uncovered some stuff. I don't really know why. Like, sometimes you don't even know the relation, but that's why I love having the deities, because they'll tell me, yeah, this is related to that. Okay, well, that makes sense, at least somewhat. But that having that faith and trust is so important to be able to really do anything. I mean, that will get you a lot of places, having the faith, right? And again, there's not really a shortcut. I want to say there is a shortcut. I want to be like, yeah, just, say these words or do this visualization or whatever. It kind of just has to come through experience. You know what I mean? Like, it just has to come through experience.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was saying, yeah, it's also okay to, you're like, what's going on? You have to trust that your law of attraction is going to work, and your divinations are what you divine. It's right. The entire gamut of the spiritual field is the trust and faith.
Yeah.
Really get it to do what it's going to do.
Exactly. Right. And it's sort of like when you have a new friend. When you make a new friend, you don't know if you can trust them at first. And there's no shortcut to it. There's really no shortcut to knowing if you can trust them. I mean, just over time, you learn if they're reliable or not. So the same with the law of attraction and with the gods and whatnot. You'll know over time, but there's no really way of, okay, right now I'm just gonna gain all the faith I can gain, and that's it. It's not possible, right? So, because the law of attraction requires the perfect combination of letting go of needing it to happen right this second for egoic reasons, and also the confidence and persistence to make it happen. That's a difficult balance that sounds contradictory. It sounds like a paradox. How can I let go and be persistent at the same time, or be, confident about it at the same time? But it's the balance of those two. And that requires a lot of faith, because the ego wants to go in there and just cling on to it and not let go at all and try to make it happen egoically, and it won't work. Right? So it is very difficult, and there's really no shortcut to it. But once you start doing it, that's the great thing about it. It'll prove itself. It'll prove itself once you start having faith. But you have to start first. You have to take the first step. Because if you don't, it's like, well, like, you can't get what you're not giving, right? So once you start, what happened to me, I tested it back in, a year and a half ago. I tested it, and it worked wonders. And I kept testing it, and it kept working wonders. Once I figured out the secret of it, not to cliche like the secret, but once I figured out the key, because it didn't work for a while because I didn't really know how to work it. Because a lot of people just don't know how to work it, even though they try to teach it. They just don't really get it. But once I really figured out how it works, then I tested it, and it worked, and I tested it, and it worked, and I tested it, and it worked. And that's about it. Like I have a business goal for this month. I started my monthly goals again.
Yay!
And, I'm like really close to it. I still won't say, I won't tell anyone what it is until it's done.
Yeah.
But it's close, and I still have another week, which is awesome. Gives me plenty of time. But you know what I mean? Like, I know how to, because I have faith that it's going to happen, because I know what to do. And I know the universe will come through, and I know the gods will come through. But that takes time to get there. You can't rush that. That takes experience to get to that point, right?
Following the urges and knowing,
right.
Following your urges, knowing that you don't want to throw the universe a script, knowing though that if you've got certain things like, hey, I can't move right now, it may take a little longer.
Yep.
Knowing that if you're more flexible, you might be able to get what you want a little sooner. Just like knowing you and then feeling that flow. Right.
Exactly. So that's one of the hardest things. Like I said, there's no shortcut to it, unfortunately. It's just experience. I mean, even Jesus said that you need faith. Like even a small amount of faith goes a long way.
Yep.
Right. So you need it. One last thing. We have like 5 minutes. Let me type it down first. So one last thing I wanted to discuss is, another, got it?
Yep.
Everyone's so quiet. Another thing we were discussing in the comments today pretty fervently was, how can I describe it? The idea of just total detachment from the goal, from the outcome, versus insistence on it happening. And I've said before, making it non-negotiable and just choosing that it's going to happen. Because, some people prefer that more detached way, and other people prefer, like me, really going at it. Right? And I kind of want to discuss that because, and again, I mean, with all this stuff, whatever you choose to do is your choice, obviously. There are lots of different paths, but I will repeat over and over and over and over and over again. I'm curious what you think about this, Justin. But being detached from the outcome, for me, okay?
Yeah. My leg cramps.
Awesome. Being like totally detached from the outcome, you're not going to generate the energy you need to get to that point. If it's a next level goal and you are detached from it, how are you going to generate momentum? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go ahead.
Well, like you have your style that you use. If somebody, for me, the detachment style, I like it for certain things, but I when I want something, I want to focus on it and go get it.
Right.
Now, once you might want to get detached in the middle when you've thrown your energy out there and it's letting it form and do its thing, but you want to stay on it. I don't like total detachment for me.
Right.
But if somebody can use that, by all means, use it. I mean, everybody has a different, I guess, methodology, and if it works for you, but I wouldn't, for me, recommend. I just don't.
Well, and there's a difference between I say non-attachment, and to, I don't want to say the goal, but you need non-attachment in general in order to let the energy flow. But it's not. See, this stuff is so hard to describe with words. It's not, this detachment is not like, I don't care if it happens or not. Then it's not a desire anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And some people try to get to that point of, I don't care if it happens or not.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work.
You're trying to do a lot of Asian-esque stuff.
I'm sorry?
It's a little bit too Asian-esque, and it's like, you kind of Eastern, and it's like, if you're in that culture, you can probably immerse yourself in it. But if you're over here, you got to blend it some.
Like, it's not going to move the energy.
No.
It's not going to move the energy because, like I said, if it's a current level goal, then fine. Just even a slight movement of will that says, I want this,
and you'll get it.
It's going to happen no matter what. If it's a next level goal, and you desire it, and then you say, well, I have to become detached. I don't even know. That's kind of an oxymoron. I don't even know how that works.
Yeah.
But if you do that somehow, now you've dropped it, and your energy is not going to move towards it. You need, I think, one of the most useful paradigms out there is the structural tension or the creative tension from that Robert Fritz discusses.
Mm-hmm.
You need that thing that says, I want this, I don't have it. I want this, I don't have it. There's nothing more useful than that. Choosing it even though it's not here yet, and acknowledging that fact, acknowledging the gap between the two, between where you are and where you want to be. Like, this stuff doesn't really, I don't want to say get along, it doesn't mesh so well with, let's say, Zen type spirituality, because a lot of the enlightenment stuff, a lot of the non-dual stuff is going to be focused on just accept what's here right now, and don't, like one of my favorite teachers, even though she says this, she's still one of my favorite teachers, Byron Katie, she says, whatever is here is what I want. Like, not that what I want is what happens, is what comes, like law of attraction, but I want whatever's here already. Like, I'm just totally accepting what's here. And that's sort of a very calming, peaceful thing. And that works for you if that works for you. But being a creator, like, let's just come out with it and say magic is about envisioning a reality that doesn't exist and being so insistent on its existence that the universe creates it for you. Wouldn't you say it's a good summary of magic?
I love it.
Yeah. The other way is
without being desperate.
Way is to being very mystical, and what people don't understand is like you've got to tailor your life to do it exactly the way that you need to do it to make that work.
Right.
Which because that's why people love. The reason why people think it works, and it does work, it works actually very well. But the reason why people want to use it so much is you're running, stressed out with your everyday American life. And It feels great to relax, and it helps you because you've burnt yourself out. So you needed that, but when you're trying to go get something,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to be ideal to go and just get something.
You have to know what it works for. It works for being peaceful and relaxed.
Getting rid of resistance.
It works for that. It doesn't work for, I want more money. Well, a spiritual person is going to say, why do you want it? Do you really need it? Can you drop that desire? Whereas a creator or a magician or a witch or a law of attraction would use it, whatever.
Yeah.
I want it. I don't need a reason. I just want it.
Now, yeah.
Right? And it doesn't mean I'm not happy either way. It means that I'm, as a creator, I'm choosing that is what I want to create. It's not like a egoic thing where I can't be happy unless I have it. Yeah, that's going to stop you. But it's just a thing like I just want it. I don't need a reason. It's just a desire. Because it'd be fun, you know what I mean? Or that's just what I want to do. So that's the difference where the paradigm, a spiritual and like a non-duality type person might say, look at why you want the desire or question the desire or whatnot. And a magician or a magic user or a witch will say, I just want to do it.
Yeah.
Just get out of my way. I'm gonna go get this thing. And that's the difference. You can't mix those. Not in the same area of life. You can be Zen in, let's say, one area, like relationships, and then in money, you're like, nah, I just want to go get it. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that, but you can't do one approach to get the other thing in the same area of life. You can't be Zen and try to go get goals. It's just not going to really work unless those are current level goals, and then fine, doesn't really require any work at all.
You've got to do something to get rid of,
right?
Because a lot of those Zen masters you see to get all this stuff, or the Jesus mystics, they can do the Magi thing. They also have become very good at shrugging off their resistance to such a degree that they can get stuff to just happen with little effort.
Yeah.
Because they've blown all their resistance, which
right.
There are ways to do that, but I'm going to tell you, man, it's an entire lifestyle change.
Right. It takes forever. It takes years, usually. It's not easy. And I mean, if your goal is solely inner peace, I mean, you should always strive for inner peace, obviously. But if that's like your only goal, then fine, go and meditate and do all that kind of stuff, whatever. If you want, and there's no better or worse, by the way, but if you want a relationship, or you want more money, or you want a better job, or you want better health or whatnot, well, you're going to have to use magic in whatever form you see that.
And at some point you have to create it.
At some point you have to create it. You're going to have to just use magic, and that's not really a Zen thing. It's not. Yeah. It's not really compatible.
Or line up. You got to line up with it somehow.
Exactly. Right.
Now you may not line up. Your creative method may not look like what Brandon does at all.
Right.
But it has somehow. You've got to find a way to create it.
Exactly. It's just they're not really compatible methods or paradigms, so you have to choose what you want to get. That's why every client I work with, what's the first question I ask?
What's your goal?
What's your goal? Not what's the problem, not what's going on. What is your goal? Mm-hmm. If they say, I don't know, I know I'm in for trouble.
I don't know. Well, we can't go anywhere right now.
Well, you're paying $125. You better find out quickly.
Might want to know fast.
Okay, so, and I will help someone to find out what their goal is if they really don't know. But it's just you have to choose a goal at some point, and but part of what I do is helping someone to clarify their goals. I'm just kidding around, but anyway, before we end, I want to announce that Justin is doing a class this weekend.
Which I won't be there for. I'm so mad.
Sorry.
I have to play at church.
She has to play at church at 4 o'clock or
4:30. Maybe I can come to some of it.
I say if I'd known that, we could have.
It was very sudden.
Oh, okay.
And plus, she'll be practicing beforehand, probably, so it's not really.
Well, good luck at church.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anyway, so Justin's doing a class on crystals. Now, crystals, as I said in the email, I know barely anything about. They're fascinating. There's lots to know about them. I don't know much about them. They do work.
Oh yeah,
they do work. Absolutely. I got a citrine last year, and it's working for me pretty well. Maybe you can tell me if I can improve anything about it.
Oh yeah, it works.
But I
the other one. What else?
I know. I haven't the labradorite. But anyway, so. Crystals are fascinating. They can help you with all sorts of different things. They can help you with magic, attraction, law of attraction, manifesting, protection, divination, all sorts of stuff, right? I mean, do you want to give a brief, sort of overview of what you'll be covering?
I'll be covering clearing and programming and what crystals are, things that, you can use them for, the types of crystals for different things like attraction, love, work.
Yeah, awesome. You
guys can ask questions. In fact, I encourage them because crystals are so big that I can ramble by mistake. And I'll be honest, there's so much that, it's like I don't want to talk for 30, 40 minutes and just, whatever. You guys ask questions. We can go into any section. I can tell you how to take crystals and pretty much use them in most situations, including with your candle work, with oils, with making mojo bags with them.
Pretty much anything you want to know, Justin's your guy about crystals.
Yeah, we'll go into a little bit of that since that's part of it. I don't want to involve too many different things other than crystals, but I will.
Right.
We'll touch on oils and candles as they relate to them.
Right.
And herbs as they relate to them, because that's then crystal layouts. Grids, or we can do them in a variety of ways. But
so
this is great.
I'm very excited about it. I'm sorry?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the class is a 90-minute class being held this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. As always, if you cannot attend, you will receive the recording, so I still would register, and
I will listen to it later.
You can participate in the discussion after the fact. So there will be comment. You can leave. There will be a comment thread. And Justin will answer all questions on the comment thread.
I would.
So, you can do that. And so whether you can attend the live class or not, it's okay. But, it's going to be basically $19.97 with the class. So it's a great opportunity. I'm really excited about it. And crystals are so versatile.
Yeah.
You can do so much with them that, I mean, even if you're not even sure what you think about crystals, I would just come and check it out because, and they're inexpensive. That's what I love about them. The citrine I got was like $2. I mean,
and it can make you money.
Big expensive things, and you can put it in like, a certain place in the house or whatever. Just carry it with you in your wallet or whatever you want to do, and it'll, if you program it, it'll do what you want.
For Brandon.
It works for
me. Because I'm about to set some up to do some stuff.
So they're not cost prohibitive or anything. They're really easy to use, and it's a win-win to me. So if you're interested in the class, head over to cocreationcoaching.org/crystals class is the address I set up for it. That's just a short. It redirects to the link I gave you, Justin, just so you're not confused.
Oh, so it's
just a shortcut, just so I can announce it without having to give the whole address.
Yeah, gotcha.
So www.cocreationcoaching.org/crystals class, and that will take you to the registration page, and that'll be open until this Saturday to the last minute, until 3:30 Eastern. And so it'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. So, and Justin, I think, plans on doing a lot of other classes too, right?
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, we do.
The nice thing is we complement each other because you know a lot of stuff I don't know. And I have expertise in stuff you don't as much.
Yeah.
So it works perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about crystals, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
We'll combine it, and then we'll do probably another class later on candles and then how to put all of it together and stuff like that.
Teach a blind person how to light them.
I know.
I do it all the time, man.
I know. All right. So, any questions before we go?
No.
All right. So, but yeah, check that out. And otherwise, for those who will be there this Saturday, we'll see you this Saturday.
And I'm sorry I can't be there.
Yeah, I know.
But I'll listen to it.
It's all Christine's fault.
I will listen to it.
And
absolutely.
Otherwise, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. And I hope everyone has a great week.
You too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Good night.
Good night.